Okay. So I think we've got the technology in order. We've got the live streaming. We are recording this meeting. It's being live streamed. And here we go. Okay. Whew. All right. A few minutes behind schedule here on Thriving Live. I had a few things I wanted to pull together and make sure I had myself resourced, nourished. I have my water, I have my candle, and I have things pretty much where I want them to be. So now I feel like I can start the show. So welcome to Thriving Live with me, Gabrielle Senza. And Thriving Live is a weekly program, or almost weekly program, actually, to be honest. Some days, some weeks I haven't managed to get on here live for one reason or another. And so I'm still working out whether it should be always a weekly program or just an occasional program or a bi-weekly program. Anyway, it is a program featuring inspirational stories and useful tips and actionable techniques anyone can use at any time to create a joyful, abundant, healthy life. Drawn from my own experience as an artist, an activist, a musician, a single parent, and an empowerment coach who has gone from barely surviving multiple traumatic experiences in both childhood and adult with a long history of adversity to a thriving, juicy, abundant life of my own design and thriving in all areas of my life. By sharing what has helped me in my own personal journey, my aim is to help listeners and viewers shorten the learning curve towards living into the fullest, most expressed version of themselves. Here's what you can expect on these calls. I always start with pleasure. In my workshops, in my private sessions with clients, and in this program, I start with pleasure, which is one of the core pillars of my practice. It's usually some kind of grounding practice that helps us to arrive in the space, leave everything behind, feel present in this moment, and be open to what shows up organically. I sometimes will talk about a particular topic of the day or some principles that I use. And I often like to put into practice either with a live guest who's on the Zoom call live when that happens, or with a guest who's maybe in the space with me. Or it could potentially be done with somebody writing in the chat, but that could be a little more complicated since I can't look at you directly, but actually that doesn't matter because we can still make a connection and we can still talk about what is going on for you and where you need some help. So today, what I was thinking of, sometimes I just show up without a plan, and sometimes I totally know what I'm going to talk about. Today is a little bit of a combination. And right now I'm just checking in to see what feels most alive, what kind of wants to surface. And actually, before we begin, let's start with pleasure first. So, pleasure first practice today will be just to really, I think since, let me just think here. Since I just arrived in the studio like 10 minutes ago, well, 20 minutes ago, I obviously could use some help getting very located here in this moment and in this time. So how I'll do that today, and you're welcome to join along if you'd like. Just taking some deep, easy breaths. Let's start with 3. Allowing your shoulders to relax on the exhale. Notice if your exhales are a little bit longer than your inhales. If they are, that's awesome. If they're not, go for it. Now, whether you're sitting in a chair or standing, right now I'm standing in front of the screen here in my studio, just feeling wherever you're being held, wherever you're being supported. For me, it's at my feet. For you, it might be your bottom in the chair or on a stool or on the ground, wherever you are. Noticing the connection that you have with what is supporting you right now and right here, today, in this moment. Noticing how solid it is and how supportive it is. And that is there for you right now. Allow that support to signal to your system that it's okay to relax. It's okay to get present. It's okay to even sigh aloud if you want. You don't have to be still if you don't want to. If that doesn't feel good, you can move your body a little bit or a lot if you'd like. You can wiggle, you can stretch. Me, I'm needing a stretch. And a little bit of bouncing. I'll loosen up and just feel what's going on in my body right now. Feel what's going on in my veins, in my muscles, in my heat, in the heat. In the heat of the moment. I love doing this with my clients in our calls, in the coaching calls, where we just like shake out a section of our hand, our arms, our shoulders. We get the blood moving, the muscles moving, all of that. Usually getting our whole bodies moving. Sometimes I put on a really good song and we dance. Anyway, just allow yourself a little bit of movement so that you can really shake it and feel it. And then allow yourself to then settle into restful state. Notice if you can locate any sense of pleasure, any sense of something that feels good in your body right now. Often we're looking for the things that don't feel good. Often we're looking for the things where tension is. If you notice those, that's okay. You can just notice them and acknowledge them. Let them know that you see them, you know, like if you have a knot in your shoulder and your muscle, just like, oh, I see you. Not making it wrong or letting it feel like you want it to go away, just seeing that it's there and accepting that it's there. And allowing yourself to continue feeling through your body, through your head, through your interior space, or through the exterior elements in your body, or, you know, surface of your body. What feels good? What's feeling good to you right now in this moment? It could be as subtle as your eyelashes touching your cheek. It could be the warmth of the air exhaled through your nose, across your lip. It could be a tingling sensation somewhere. It could be a pulsating sensation somewhere in your body. It could just be restfulness. Noticing what feels good right now for you in this moment, in this time and space. Once you've located one little source of feel-good sensation in your body or on your body, just be present with that for a moment. Just breathe with it and be with it. Acknowledging its presence, maybe even sending it a little bit of gratitude. Now see if you can increase the size of that pleasure, the space that it's taking, either in your body, wherever you're feeling it, or on your body, or wherever it is, wherever it's living. See if you can feel it spreading across the area nearby or filling the space inside. Imagine it growing so that's filling you or covering and embracing your whole body, your whole space. Great. Imagine it getting even larger so that it takes up space outside of you, space inside the sort of, comfortable, whatever comfortable for you, space around you that you consider your personal space. Imagine and bring that pleasure sensation into that space so that you're completely gently embraced, surrounded by, held by, whatever language feels good for you, by that pleasurable sensation. Excellent. If you feel you have the capacity to make it even larger, I encourage you to fill more space around you. Maybe fill the room that you're in, more of the space that you're in. And allowing yourself to notice what happens. What happens as you allow yourself to feel more pleasure. If I were running a workshop right now, I would take us further out into the space, into sometimes I've reached, and many of us have reached, the sort of what we think of as the stratosphere, right? Like way up there, way up there. I felt like sometimes an astronaut or just floating around in space, which is quite delightful. And something that I definitely encourage anyone to do after they get themselves grounded and know that they're safe, and allowing your body to feel and acknowledge that you're safe here and now, in this moment. It's one of the really nice things about meditation, although a lot of people, including myself, don't always feel comfortable doing sort of the straight up, what we're taught as formal meditation, right? Being super still, being super straight, being all these things. We can meditate lying down. We can meditate walking. We can meditate drawing or painting, or just staring off into space, which is what I often do on my little meditation couch over there. I look out the window facing north. There's this gorgeous tree on the other side of the building, on the other side of the street. And I just love staring up into the sky and looking at that tree, both when it's bare and there are no leaves on it, as well as when it's fully leafed out, like it is right now in June. And just letting my thoughts come and go, just like the clouds that pass by up there behind that tree. The thoughts come in, they go out. They come in and they go out. I don't need to, when I allow myself that time, that meditation time, or sometimes I just call it time on the couch, time on the meditation couch. Letting the thoughts just pass through. It's a no work, no effort time. It's a time for ease, a time for wonder, time for wandering, but not getting attached to any path or any idea or anything to do. Just knowing that that time on the couch, or standing or walking, or however I'm doing the meditation at the time, is just meant for my mind to just do its thing, let the ideas go. Peace and that calm. Even if it's just 1 minute or 2 minutes a day, or sometime in the day, or even if I don't even get to it during the day, and I allow myself to be in that space when I'm going to sleep at night in bed. It's so helpful. It's so helpful to give ourselves that space of not always working, not always trying to figure stuff out, not always having to remember things or process things or all that stuff. Like, we just need the space, that air space, that clear air space in our minds and in our whole bodies, our space, our time, our hearts. So that's basically our pleasure practice for today. Bring yourself back into the here and now. If you haven't already, with me talking, become conscious again of what is supporting you, either what's under your feet if you're standing, or what is under your seat if you're sitting, or if you're lying down, whatever the surface is that's holding you and supporting you. Noticing all the places that are touching something else. That connection. Just becoming aware of these things, just becoming aware of where things meet, how they connect, what they feel like, what feels good about it, what doesn't feel good about it. Is there something that doesn't feel good about it? Can you shift it so that it feels better? You feel better. Sometimes on the shows, on this program, I talk about concepts that my mentors have taught me. And sometimes I share the process that I've gone through to get to a certain point. Sometimes I share something that's come up, either in the news or in my reading, in my explorations, in my research. And sometimes I'll share them here. And if you have something in particular you would like to talk about, I would love it if you put something in the chat, either in the YouTube channel video. I think the chat will remain live, even if you watch it later, watch the replay. And if you are new to this and you have not received the Zoom call link for these calls, and you'd like to, just go to my bit.ly link, which is bit.ly/thriving live, all one word. And you can automatically register right there. And if there's a call going on right now, like right now, then it'll say join the call. And if there's not a call, it'll probably show you the dates that are coming up, and you're automatically registered for any of those. So you can just show up with that Zoom link that it gives you and pop in. And if you come on live, we could do a one-to-one session essentially, or if there are more people on, we can do popcorn style if people have questions, or if they have something they want to work on, if they're struggling with something, or if there's a phobia or a recurring obsessive thought, if they had a recently upsetting experience, we can totally work with that. I am 100% confident that I can help you with that. Ease your system, ease your mind, expand your sense of safety, and give you more clarity and more peace in your life, in your experience, in your being, your whole being. And that gives me the greatest pleasure to see that happen. It's such a joy. So if that's something you desire, then you could do that live on one of these calls by registering for, like I said, for the live Zoom calls, and that's at bit.ly/thriving-live. If you'd like to have a private session with me, you can do that by going to my Calendly link, which is just Calendly, calendly.com/make-change. And you can select in there a time frame. Pretty sure there's still a complimentary call with Gabrielle in the offerings there. I can't remember offhand, and I don't want to get too distracted trying to find that. Yeah, and you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook as Gabrielle Senza, Gabrielle Senza Studio. Also, some of the projects I do are Walk Unafraid, as well as Invisibility Lab. Those are some big art-focused projects. And then also you can check out More Pleasure Please. More Pleasure Please is morepleasureplease.com is my website, and More Pleasure Please on Instagram is just getting built up with some new content. And that's where I focus mainly on some of these core principles that I use as an empowerment coach, as an intimacy coach, as a life coach, really. So I invite you to find me there. You can always message me, I guess, DM me there. So those are a few different places you can find me. What else did I want to share with you today? Well, it's 2:27, so it's a little less than half an hour. And I think I'm of two minds. There's some things I really want to share with you about, about the erotic blueprints. I'm a certified erotic blueprint coach, and later this month, we're going to this big event in Colorado. Many of the coaches who've been certified through Jaya's organization, our mentor who taught the erotic blueprints, who figured them out. And so there's something I kind of want to do with that today. And I'm also of the mind of talking more about empowerment in a way, because, yeah, I think I'm going to go with that because that's just the most current thing. I think what I want to say about that is a lot of people feel like they have no power in the world, right? No power to affect change in the world or in their lives even. And I have seen over and over in my own experience that it totally is possible. It's totally possible. If you change the perspective or the way a person feels on an individual level or in a group level or in a community level, you are affecting change in the world, and it all has a ripple effect. And so even when it comes to politics, for political action, environmental action, any of these things, which I probably will be talking more about in future episodes, because there's a lot coming up on this that I'm involved in. And I could just share it here. You might be able to tell that I'm trying to figure out, how do I want this show to go? What do I want to include in the show? What's useful? And I would love to hear from the listeners and viewers, and you can tell me. That would be fantastic. So like I said, you can drop a message into my Instagram accounts, Gabrielle Senza Studio, or here on the YouTube link, and on my website, any of the websites actually, GabrielleSenza.com or morepleasureplease.com. So I would love to hear from you on what you'd like to see and hear and learn more about. And if I can do that, I would love to do that. But what I was going to share about recent events. Okay, here we go. I live in a very small town of maybe 6,000 people, but the population increases dramatically in the summertime. There are a lot of second homeowners. There are a lot of cultural events that happen in the summer. And so where I live, it's the Berkshires, and particularly Great Barrington, is a really, really popular area. And like many, many popular areas, they become hotspots for tourism. And our community, our economy really thrives and depends on tourism, which is awesome. And as an artist, a lot of visitors are collectors of my work, collaborators in projects, and you know, there are just so many great things about it. One of the things that's happened recently here and is happening all over the world, which I'm sure you already heard about or may have experienced, but some people haven't, they don't see it firsthand. The short-term rental industry is sort of taking over these places, these hotspot tourist places. So much so that service industry workers, artists, musicians, the ones who are actually providing the culture and the services to make it such a hotspot, they can't afford to live there in that space, in the town that they're working in and the town that they love. And what we've seen here is a whole lot of houses that have gone on the market and been bought up solely for the purpose of turning into short-term rentals. So what happens there is that a family either sells the property just because they want to benefit from the higher real estate prices, right? Can't blame them. Unfortunately, some people with the intention of not living there and starting their own family or retiring there or whatever it is, living there permanently, are buying it strictly with the mind to turn it into a lucrative hospitality business, essentially. So these neighborhoods that were really beautiful, warm, friendly, community-based places where people knew each other, they recognized each other, they could help each other out, they could chat, they could you know, look in on each other or do favors for each other, especially like during COVID and stuff like that. So then these communities are getting hollowed out, and now they're just loads of strangers, you know, across the street, next door, on the house down the road. And it's had a really severe impact on an already really significant housing crisis that we have here. The town's doing great in terms of like doing what they can and trying to create new housing, affordable housing and workforce housing and such like that. The problem was that the short-term rental business model is so easy, there are no upfront costs, and there's a great amount of profit to be made in that space. And that's fine in my opinion, on a lot of different levels. If it's your home, your one home, or maybe your second home, and you're not there all the time and you need to be in two places, that's one thing. But people who are buying a house, moving it, kicking people out, which actually has happened in the long-term rentals. A lot of people have lost their homes, their apartments, their houses. And then they can't find another place to live in the South County, in the Great Barrington. So then they have to drive an hour away to come in and work in Great Barrington. And last night was, in this small town, we still have the annual town meeting, which is really remarkable because there are not too many places still in this country where annual town meetings are when the citizens, the residents of a town, come together in person, live, to vote on things, to vote on the town budget, to vote on whether we get new police cars or new plow trucks, and we also vote on the school budget. There's discussion about these things. There are a couple of presentations. People can get in line and speak to the issues. And then a vote is called for and seconded. And then, there's the discussion, and then there's the vote. And so we attended last night's annual town meeting, and it was held up at the local high school. And there was a phenomenal turnout. And there were the short-term rental was a really hot issue this year. And there was a lot of contentious back and forth. Some, I won't get into it, but you get into the news, you Google it, and you'll see the debate about short-term rentals in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. It was pretty intense and nasty in a lot of places, much like the national politics, right? So, unfortunately, that also created a lot of conflict among friends, among neighbors, among business owners. Business owners felt like they couldn't speak up because they worried about losing business and creating a bad taste in people's mouths. So even though I spoke with dozens of business owners in town about this issue of the housing crisis, the thriving short-term rental situation, but people, that's my mail day being delivered, and it always surprises me. People being evicted from the homes just because they're being upgraded to short-term rentals. And some of the businesses were just like, I can't get help. I can't hire anyone because they have no place to live here, and they can't afford these rents that have skyrocketed because of the short-term rental, rush. It's like a gold rush, right? So I was part of the team that was pulling together a short-term rental bylaw that regulates how many short-term rentals a person can run and for how long in a year. And a lot, people don't like to be told what they can do, what they can't do with their properties or with anything, right? And it's kind of funny in that we live by a lot of rules and a lot of regulations, and we obviously, our society functions based on a whole lot of those things. So I don't know, that one doesn't. Would you want to have a slaughterhouse go into the house next door, or a puppy mill upstairs in your condo building? I don't think so. So yeah, we have to have some regulations, right? So anyway, clearly I am off script. I was not planning on really talking about this. My main point of bringing this all up is that over and over again, I've seen in certainly local government that it only takes a couple of people. It only takes one person to get started a movement, to start a movement, to bring people together, like-minded people, to think issues through, to bring in more people, to do research on what's happening, how is it being done in other places, what's working there, what's not working there, what could we do, that kind of stuff. And so building a movement for a single issue is totally possible. It's totally doable. And, you know, as the founder of Walk Unafraid, that was basically my main point, is like, if we take the courage, if we gather up the courage to speak truth to power, essentially, right? To speak our own truth, we may be able to affect some change. And we might not see that change right away. But what I've seen over and over again is when we speak our own personal truth about an issue or about a thing that happened, and it's a thing that a lot of people don't necessarily like talking about, they might not feel comfortable about, they might not feel educated enough to talk about it, whatever it is. When we start speaking from our own experience, then it kind of gives people start feeling like they have permission to do the same. And they might only come and share it with you. That's been my case over and over again. People come and share their story with me, and they feel not alone. I feel not alone. And something starts getting built, right? Whew, I'm really going all over the place right now. Because of course there's so much more I want to say about that, but I'm not going to get into that right now. The point is, a single person or a small group of people have the power to make change. And it can come in all different sizes, shapes, and colors and places. You know, it can be at school, it can be in a family, it can be in a community, it can be in the town government, it can be in the state government, it can be in the national government. It can be policies that get changed so that people are able to feel more safe, to be more expressed, to be to have equal rights and equal opportunities and equal. You get the idea. It's totally possible, starting with you. So, because this is unscripted, I have no idea where I'm going next. So, what do I really want to say here? I've said over and over again in real life, not here necessarily, that we not only do we have more power than we think we do as individuals in the world, and of course we are constantly told that, and we often feel like we have no power whatsoever. I'm here to tell you that you do. We can make such a difference. There are a lot of people in positions of power who really actually don't know as much as you think they do. And they may be a whole lot less qualified for the position that they have. And I'm thinking particularly of local government. Local governments everywhere, not just here in Great Barrington. They have a whole lot less professional training or experience or knowledge or qualifications than pretty much anyone else. If you are a thinker, if you are a, even marginally educated and can do research and can pull together, information from both sides of an issue to understand it better, then your voice really, really matters, and it can carry some weight, and you can potentially get change to happen in your own community. And I really encourage you to not hold back. We really need people willing to stand up and say the things that need to be said, but also to bring things forward. Like I said, like Sorry, I was distracted by my phone because do you know how sometimes there are notifications for certain people that always come through? Well, that's what is going on right now. So sorry about that. I should have put this in the other room or something so that wouldn't happen. Anyway, the point is you have the power to make change in your own life, in your own community, in your own family, in your own workplace, in your own school, in your own environment. And I encourage you to do that. And if you want help doing that, and you could use a coach or a guide, a mentor, there are loads of people available to help you with that. I'd be happy to talk with you. You can reach out to me, like I said, and book a call, complimentary call, through Calendly, my Calendly link, calendly.com/make change. I was just thinking about this, calendly.com/make change. I'd love to chat with you, to encourage you, and to potentially even work with you if that's something you need, a mentor, a coach, a person who can guide you. I really, really love the opportunity to work with people who are committed or even just curious about how they can empower themselves to make change, to build the life that they want, that is thriving, abundant, to create the future that you want. That's what I wanted to say earlier when the text came in. It's like, how do you create the future you want? Where do you begin? How do you begin? Can you do it alone? The answers are all available. You can do it. I encourage you to do it. We need you doing it. So let's do it. If we were doing a live call right now and we were wrapping up, which I'm going to do now, that I've gone on and on with my unscripted show today, we would do a wins, insights, and learnings. Like, what was the biggest takeaway you got from today's call? What did you learn? What was an aha moment? What did you enjoy hearing about or experiencing? If you did, sort of a meditation piece or any of the things, I would love to hear about it. So reach out to me on social media if you'd like. Put a message in the chat on YouTube, and come join this call live, because you may get way more out of it because we're in the space together, although it is a virtual space, but still, I could work with you. We can engage, we can have conversations in the chat, and real-time laser focused coaching on a particular issue or particular challenge that you might be having. So I invite you to come. You can always register at any time at the bit.ly link, which is bit.ly/thriving-live. That will get you the registration for all the future Tuesdays at 2 Thriving Live. Okay? I love you. I hope to see you in real life, or to see you participating somewhere in the social media realm, on the interwebs, whatever it is. And I so appreciate you for watching. You are welcome to subscribe, and please feel free to reach out anytime.